And welcome back to Showcase Live. I'm co-team leader Dave Shellbetter with my friend Mike Daniels over there, my other co-team leader. We got Alfonso on the camera, we got Roy on the monitor, and we are here broadcasting live from the 2021 DeLand Sport Aviation Showcase, hashtag DSAS21. Glad everybody's watching. If you're watching afterwards, thanks for checking in with us. We're here to all 3 days of the event talking with our vendors and sponsors and all kinds of neat people, and people who have watched us in the past will know that I am here with my friend Lou Mancuso with Bristell. Hello, Lou. How you
Hey,
doing?
Dave. Good. How are you?
Good to see you again. Good to see you again. Now, we'll get to the Bristell in a minute, but I'm seeing a banana flag over here, and I'm reading backwards, but I'm talented.
Right.
SebringFlightAcademy.com.
Right.
What is that all about?
Well, we've been representing the Bristell for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I realized in order for these planes to hold up in a flight school, we needed to fly differently, teach differently. So I became the landing doctor and developed a 3-part training program with a challenge coin. And in order to prove the merits of my training program, I opened the Sebring Flight Academy using Bristells.
Okay.
So we've been operating for 3 years without a single incident, accident, or insurance claim.
Nice.
Using the Bristells, because insurance is going to be a problem going forward, and we have to do a better job of training to not have accidents. And we have 3 years without any incident or insurance claim, and I'm very proud of that, using the Landing Doctor program.
Okay.
But one of the things on this journey, which is very unique that we learned, in a light sport plane, you can become a flight instructor without a commercial license or an instrument rating in 150 hours. So our specialty at the Sebring Flight Academy is making light sport CFIs.
Okay.
150 hours, no commercial, no instrument. And in 150 hours, we hire them as instructors so they can get paid while they build the 500-600 hours they need for their first corporate job. So instead of paying for their flying, they get paid while building the hours.
Great.
We also have our own 3-bedroom home, so we have affordable housing for students and also people that want to come for 1 week of accelerated light sport training or light sport transition training when they buy a Bristell. So we're delighted with how things are going at the Academy, and we're especially delighted that the Landing Doctor 3-part program is working beautifully.
It's good news. I'm glad to hear that everything's going well for you. I know Sebring. My folks lived in Sebring. They lived in, and I'm going to say the name of the development. I'm drawing a complete blank, but it's right off of the raceway and the airport there. And I used to sit out in a driveway and watch them come in on finals. So
Right.
it was, it was fun. We could look out through their front door and see the long straight at Sebring. So
Yeah, that's
beautiful area.
Yeah, that's where
nice
our
area.
3-bedroom house is that we house our students.
What is the name of that development? I'm drawing
I
a
don't
blank.
remember.
Oh, okay.
Right.
A nice area there. Sebring's a pretty neat area too. So now you're up here in DeLand, and you've got this beautiful Bristell aircraft here, Sensenich prop. And these are the planes. This is what you use at your flight school.
This is the typical plane that's in our school.
Is this one of your school's planes that you're?
No, this is my personal plane that I keep at the Flying Palomino Ranch, 5FA1 in Fruitland Park by the Villages.
Okay.
I live in the Villages, and I rent a hangar at the Fruitland Park, and then I have a small club where people buy some hours and help defray some of my overhead costs, so I have a plane to bring to the shows. And occasionally, if a plane is down for maintenance at the Academy, they'll come up and grab this plane and keep it for a week or two as a backup supplemental plane to help the Academy.
That's great. So tell me about the Bristell now. We've covered your Academy. Tell me about this airplane. I mean, first of all, it's beautiful. I'm walking around here, and it's sleek, and it's just a good looking airplane. So tell me about it. Where is Bristell made?
So this is made in the Czech Republic by Milan Bristella and his family, and they've been in business 13 years, and they just delivered their 650th aircraft.
Wow.
And we have 80 in the United States now, and we sold 10 this year.
Really?
And
well, congratulations.
So things are going
good sales
very well. So So this one is the carbureted version powered by the 912 ULS.
Okay, and the
this-
Rotax engine.
Rotax. This is our entry level Bristell. And then we offer 3 other engine choices. And last year, the Bristell 915 LSA Turbo, 141 horse, got approved as a LSA. And
Nice.
we've delivered 7 of them in the
Really?
LSA category.
Wow.
So they're limited by POH to 120 knots at sea level, so they stay within the LSA category. They're under the 900-pound maximum weight for an LSA. Our 915s come in around 840 pounds. And you haven't seen other manufacturers put the 915 in their plane because they're too heavy to begin with, and they'd go over the 900 pounds.
Okay.
But the Bristell Milan worked very hard to keep the empty weight down, and it made it quite easy for him to put the 915. And I've had...
I see that I'm seeing rivet heads, so I'm assuming she's an aluminum skin.
Yes, it's all
And that
aluminum.
that helps with your weight.
Right, that helps, and it's 4 grades of aluminum. So where you need it to be strong, it's 032. Where it doesn't need to be strong, it's 020. So there's 4 different grades, and there's lots of carbon fiber. Cowling's carbon fiber, rudder pedals, the rudder is carbon fiber. So there's lots of carbon fiber in it, but besides the basic airframe, which is all metal, supplemental places are carbon fiber to keep the weight down.
So I like the canopy design too.
The canopy is wonderful, especially here in Florida, because you taxi with it open, and it's never hot on the hottest day. Only it's hot for takeoff and landing. But in cruise, you get plenty of flow through the NACA vents and the 4-inch vents, and on the ground, you taxi with it open, so it's always cool.
Now I'm seeing a standard side-by-side configuration.
Wider than
Seating.
a Cirrus.
Wider than a Cirrus,
it's,
wow.
It's widest in class, wider than a Cirrus at 51 inches wide. So it's very roomy, and the seats are very comfortable, and the seat bottom cushion is elongated to support your legs. So I've flown 4.5-hour legs and get out very, very refreshed.
It looks comfortable. Now I'm seeing we got a baggage compartment back there.
Yeah, it holds 2 airline-style carry-on bags back there, and then it holds 44 pounds in the wing lockers.
In the wing lockers.
Which,
Now, where are our wing lockers?
We come around to this side. The
there it is.
the lockers right over the center of gravity, and they hold 44 pounds each.
Look at that.
So we have custom bags. If it fits in the bag, it fits in the wing locker. 20 kilograms, 44 pounds. So all the heavy items go right on the center of gravity, making it very easy to keep this plane in balance.
Yeah, you have no weight and balance issue.
Yeah.
It's not like you're putting 44 pounds
Right, way back here.
back of the CG
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
throwing off your CG
it's-
because of it.
44 pounds on each side, 33 pounds, 2 airline-size carry-on bags, and then 2 pounds on the hatch shop. So we can
Solid.
carry lots of stuff and stay in CG.
Nice solid locking system here.
Yeah, and again, it's lockable for security, and again, carbon fiber to keep the weight down.
Yeah. Nice aircraft. Nice.
It has push rod controls like an $800,000 Mooney Ovation, and he wanted his wing to last forever. So many planes, like we had Pipers in our school for many years, and when they'd get to be 15 years old and 15,000 hours, we'd have to rebuild the wings from people stepping on a wing.
Right.
So Milan put the spar 14 inches out. So under here is the main spar for the plane, the double spar. So this is rock solid. So you step on the spar, not on the wing.
Great
So the
idea.
Wing attaches here with massive bolts, and it has a 157 V&E speed, which is very high because the plane is very strong.
And now you got a 157 VNE, and for the people that may not know watching it now, VNE is velocity never exceed. In other words, this plane is designed to max out at 157. Now there's no saying you hit 158, it's going to fall apart, but you're not supposed to go faster than 157 miles an hour. So that's your top maximum. Don't exceed that speed. What do you have in a cruise?
120, you're nowhere near 157.
120.
Yeah.
And what kind of fuel burn do you have at that?
About 5 gallons an hour.
I keep seeing, I'm hearing these numbers, and in an interview earlier today, we were talking around the same, and we were saying that a 172 burns like 8 gallons an hour. So
Yeah.
your typical trainer, somebody's taxiing up there, looks like they're getting ready to pull out. Might be a little bit of noise in the background here. But your typical trainers we're using nowadays are burning more fuel than this, and when you're in a school, if the training aircraft is burning that much fuel, you have to charge that much more.
Sure.
So you can have the Bristell in there and burning the lower fuel and offer your instruction at lower hour cost.
Yes, and then at Sebring they offer the auto fuel and the Swift fuel, which is less money than 100 low lead. And for people that live in, like myself in the villages, I'll bring in a can of premium auto gas, and I can just dump a $3 gas into my plane that uses auto fuel or 100 low lead. So you have that option for economy. And our latest addition is the 915 Speedster, and that plane burns between 4 gallons and 10 gallons depending on what power setting. If you're at 18,000 feet and you're running it at the top of the green, it burns 10.3 gallons, but it does 160 knots true.
God.
184 miles an hour up there.
Whoa.
And still
that's just fast.
Yeah.
That's just cooking.
I did it once and I had an 80 knot tailwind. I was doing 243 knots ground speed.
Ground speed.
280
wow.
miles an hour.
Wow. For our non-flying public, when you're up in the air, you have what they call an indicated airspeed, which means you're moving through the air at, what did you say you were?
119 indicated.
You were indicating that you were moving through the air at 119 miles an hour, and a tailwind means the wind was pushing you along, so you're moving that fast through the air, and the air is moving that fast, which makes your speed over the ground jumping up to the super high numbers.
119
But the opposing of that is flying the other direction.
Yeah.
You could be indicating 119, but you're flying into a 20-mile-an-hour headwind, which means your ground speed is only going to be 99. So your winds aloft affect the speed you're covering over the ground, but your airspeed is your airspeed.
So when you have a headwind, we generally fly very low to minimize the wind.
The higher you go, the stronger the headwind. The lower you are, the faster you can go.
No, we have a big
speed.
tailwind. We fly as high as we can to get a maximum tailwind. So this plane, the 915, will make it nonstop from Florida to New York when you bring the power back, and it gets into echo mode and only burns 4.5 gallons.
4.5 gallons.
And it holds 43 gallons of gas, so it has a 8 or 9 hour endurance.
So it far exceeds pilot bladder endurance.
That is true.
So tell me a little more about the airplane. I'm looking at the panel here, and it looks like we have one built-in Garmin display, and then just your typical switches, and you've got an iPad up there. What's your panel configuration?
So this has your 10-inch Garmin G3X touchscreen. It has ADS-B, traffic and weather, and the traffic and weather not only appears on the Garmin, but it also appears on the backup iPad in addition. So you have traffic and weather and navigation capability on the iPad and on the Garmin, and it has the top-of-the-line autopilot with the GMC 507 module that gives you all the autopilot controls with a touch.
And that comes standard in the aircraft, or is that an upgrade?
No, those are options.
Those are options, okay.
It comes standard with the one screen.
Okay.
And the other things are options.
All right.
And this has the flap switch right in front of you, carburetor heat right in front of you, defroster and heat right in front of you, the handbrake right in front of you, fuel selector right in front of you. So everything's centrally located for ease of the pilot.
And it's visible. I know a lot of aircraft, some of these levers and switches are down to the side where you can't really keep your eye on what you're flying if you're having to look down here for reaching the switch. Look down your side.
They think that the John Denver accident was because the fuel valve was located in such an awkward position when his engine quit. When he tried to switch the tanks, he lost control and he was low when it happened. But our fuel selector is right next to the pilot.
Yeah, right there. That's a great design idea, keeping it right where you can see it.
Plus, the G3X tells you every 30 minutes switch tanks. So it really makes you keep your fuel in balance.
And again, I keep remembering, or I keep talking about for the non-flying out there, you've got a gas tank in each wing, and if you suck all of the fuel out of your right wing, your left wing's going to want to drop, and you're going to have to fight the aircraft. So if you draw some out of one tank, some out of one wing, some out of the other,
you keep it balanced.
Keep it balanced and a lot less drag.
And the timer tells us to do that, so we don't have to remember.
Nice.
And then we have steps for easy entrance. We have a rounded fuselage, so this plane's really good in turbulence.
She looks slippery too.
So,
So you've got fairings at your tail and at your elevators.
and
You
we
got fairings
have
around it.
piano hinges on our ailerons and elevator, which are the best you can get, and high quality, expensive, only the best. Oh, the wheels, it has Behringer wheels and brakes, anti-lock, anti-skid, and they're sealed bearings, so you don't have to take the wheels off at the 100 hour. They'll last
Nice.
6 years before you have to change the bearings.
And then you just swap out the bearings
Yeah,
for
put in
new
new
ones.
ones,
You know,
yeah,
it's
so-
not servicing them.
So the annuals are less expensive because you don't spend 3 hours pulling all the wheels off and repacking the bearings.
Right, right. I'm seeing static ports. I'm seeing all kinds of things. Now here, tell
Yeah.
me about this. What's this little white module here? What does that do?
Okay, GPS.
That's your GPS.
Receiver.
Okay.
This is the comm antenna, and that's a transponder antenna.
Okay, so for the, again, non-flying public, this is the radio. This controls the radios, and this is for the transponder, which
Right.
broadcasts your height, elevation, location.
Yeah, and then we got ADS-B in and out antenna up front.
Great. Now you're talking about the canopy, and I was looking. I'm seeing a release lever here.
Right.
When
You
you're
look
in the
ins-
aircraft, you're
look
sitting
inside,
down.
You'll see those big red levers.
Yep.
Open, close. There's
Yep.
one on each side for the canopy. Nice big.
So it's
levers.
not like you have to reach up and grab the canopy and pull it down.
Nope. You pull it down and then you throw those levers to lock it.
Great. Beautiful airplane, beautiful airplane. Now, if I wanted to buy your basic edition here, the basic Bristell, what's the entry level?
172,000.
172. And if I wanted to buy one maxed out, biggest engine, every conceivable option, I want to buy the Cadillac version of it.
300,000.
300. So that's really not bad because we've spoken with other people that their birds start at 250.
Yeah, it's half
And-
the price of a Cirrus and has similar performance to the small Cirrus.
All right. Now you don't have, but you know, Cirrus, the first thing that pops into mind when people say Cirrus is a BRS.
We have that.
Oh, you have a BRS?
Sure.
And where is that located?
Up front, there's a storage compartment, and
Okay.
that's where the BRS goes. This plane is pre-wired, so the BRS can be added at any time, but we don't automatically put them in.
Okay, so they don't come with the BRS unless
No.
you ask for it. And again, folks, if you haven't seen the other interviews, BRS is a ballistic recovery system. It's basically a cannon with loaded with a parachute. You get into a situation where you know you're going to crash, you cannot recover the aircraft. You activate the BRS and it literally blows. It's a ballistic charge. It blows the parachute out and inflates it. So you're not like hoping the parachute will open. The system automatically deploys. You pull a button or pull the lever, it deploys the parachute for you and brings you down in a flat level configuration landing. You're not hanging with your nose up in the air or your nose down. Well,
And
but
of
it's
course
a
the-
last ditch.
And a BRS
Safety.
is pretty important in a Cirrus, but our plane can land in a little bit bigger than a football field, so it can
Yep.
land just about anywhere, and it stalls at 32. So you can get so slow that even if you went in the
32.
woods, you wouldn't get hurt. So, and I have 7,200 hours, and I've never had an engine failure or anything that would make me want to have a parachute. My father, on the other hand, in his day, he had 5 engine failures. He flew back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But engines don't fail anymore, so we actually teach people how to land differently. We teach them to come in with partial power, some power, and partial flaps. So instead of coming in like a Skyhawk with full flap and no power, we come in with some power and partial flap, so we come in a lot flatter.
Okay.
Instead of beginning the round out at a telephone pole height at 20 feet above the ground, we don't start off flare to where the height of a car. So we keep coming in with power to the height of a car, and then even then we don't try and land. We just try and fly level down the runway at the height of a car for a little while till the plane loses some of its energy, and from there we transition to a landing. And when the landing,
So you're floating into a landing. You're not flying down to the runway and landing.
it's
You're
a
coming in
three-part.
and
It's
floating down.
approach, level, and then land. And when we do the academy training, we do that training on days with a crosswind. Always a crosswind, always a crosswind. And we don't actually let the student land. We just let them come down and fly near the runway again and again and again until they can master the control forces.
Okay.
And when we start at 5 feet, then we go 4, 3, 2, 1, 6 inches. When they get to 6 inches, the instructor works the throttle to help them hold that perfect landing attitude. And after they could do that for 3,000 feet, dead rock solid with a crosswind, then they get to work the throttle. And after they do that, landing is easy.
It is. It is. It sounds like a great. That's part of probably the reason they call you the landing doctor.
Well, that's my program.
You've got the procedure down.
And when I created the program, I wasn't 100% sure how effective it would be. But having used it in an academy for 3 years without a single incident, accident, or insurance claim, I'm really convinced I'm onto something with my program.
A great idea. A great idea.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to tell us about the Bristell before we wrap this up for the day? I see you've got a standard center stick configuration where a lot, you're not side stick. It works typical stick, push it forward to go down, pull it back to go up, left, right, tilt on the stick. And I see a joystick button in the middle. What is the joystick button in the middle control?
So everything about the Bristell is the best of the best of the best. So that is a Toscan C8 grip, and that hat does forward trim and left-right trim, all with that
okay,
button.
so your trim is right there.
The trim is right there. But not just that. If you grab the front, your transmission button is right on the stick. You push to torque.
Oh, so that's not for the guns.
That's not for bullets, that's the transmission. Okay. And then below that is a tiny little button you can push to change your frequency from standby to active, right on the stick.
Oh,
you don't have to
nice.
reach up on the panel to change
Don't take your hands
frequency.
off.
You
Yeah.
just do it right from the Toscan grip stick.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful little airplane. And it as they go for new airplanes, it's very affordable.
Yeah.
And so is there anything else you might want to add before we take off? Now, you're here at DeLand Sport Aviation Showcase through the end of the day tomorrow.
Right.
You mentioned it's Sebring Flight Academy, so I'm assuming you're based at Sebring Airport. Sebring Airport.
So we have our academy, Sebring Flight Academy, and then our main business that my father started in 1946 is up on Long Island, and that's Mid-Island Flying School, Mid-Island Flight School. So that's celebrating
it's still active.
75 years in business.
Congratulations.
And our main business is aviation real estate. So our business up there is also called New York Jet, and we rent out jet hangars up there. And we just built a hangar big enough to house 3 Gulfstream 650s, and it's fully occupied.
That's some real estate.
So that's where I get my money to be able to buy and play with my Bristells from my main FBO business. Then we have Sport Flying USA, which is a company I formed 12 years ago to start my light sport business. And then we have our website, bristellaircraft.com, that tells all about our Bristell stuff. So we have numerous websites that tell about what we do. And of course we have the landingdoctor.com website to talk about all our safety principles.
Okay, so we've got the landingdoctor.com, we've got bristellaircraft.com.
Right.
And what about the Flight Academy? Is that
Sebring Flight Academy has its own website,
Okay.
.com. And then,
I see you're onto something here.
Yeah, NewYorkJet.com, MidIslandAir.com. At 75 years, you wind up in a lot of businesses, and you need different websites to tell your story. So we have numerous websites and numerous stories to tell.
That's great. Well, I appreciate you being here and taking the time to talk to me. We got a little started. We had our interview scheduled on the top of the hour, but the crowd that it draws, we just had to wait our turn to chat with you, and I appreciate that.
I'll finish with one last idea. Because of COVID and supply chain, our delivery used to be 6 or 7 months, and now it's 10 months. It'll probably get back to 6 or 7 months in 6 months or a year, but right now the delivery is way out. So I anticipated that earlier this year and got financing to order planes in advance. So we have 4 of the basic Bristells in stock, ready for sale.
Great.
And then we have one 915 turbo, the 915 LS turbo. And then we have 2 more 915s coming in December, and 2 more coming in April, and another ULS coming in April. So I have a lot of planes on order in the pipeline, so customers won't have to wait to get their plane.
Now, you said you have them in stock. Are they on the ground in Sebring, or are they
Lancaster,
in
Pennsylvania
they're in
is where the
Pennsylvania.
915 lives. There's a couple of planes in the school in Sebring, and if somebody were to buy one of those, we would replace it with one of my other inventory.
Right. All right. Well, been speaking with Mr. Lou Mancuso, the landing doctor himself. Lou, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Again, thank you.
For Showcase Live, I'm Dave Shellbetter. We will be back with you well, according to Freckle past a hair, somewhere around 2 o'clock. We'll be back live again. See you in a few.